What is going on, everybody? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone. This is your weekly gear news update. This is where we talk about the new gear that came out over the last week or over the last couple of days or right up until when I shoot this video. If you like guitar gear, guitar stuff, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and the little like button and all the things that YouTube watching people do because we got some cool content. We had a video come out yesterday. We had a video come out Monday. We've got this video. We've got a live stream on Thursdays, all about guitar stuff. Pretty fun stuff. Make sure you do that for me. I'd appreciate it. All right. So last week in the news or the week before, we were talking about how this is the time of year. I mean, there's no NAMM in January, so this means that pretty much everybody's going to be releasing new guitars and a lot of them. So this is a whole nother week of kind of bigger scale releases, not just one model. We're going to start with EVH and their 5150 series, their Wolfgang series, and their Wolfgang Special. They come out with a bunch of new colors, basically. They're the same guitars, just new colors. Sparkly ones, green ones, fancy colors, fancy woods, you know, like transparent finishes, stuff like that. You can check them out. I'll leave a link to them in the description below if I can find them, if they're out enough to find. And yeah, go check them out. Same guitars, basically the same spec and everything, just new colors, or colorways as they like to say these days. Corey Wong. He's been in the music news a lot lately. Hanging out with John Mayer, swapping guitars a couple of weeks ago. That was pretty interesting. Well, you know, he's got a signature Strat, which is sweet, that blue one. Spec'd pretty cool, actually, for a Strat. Well, he's got a new pedal now. He teamed up with Jackson Audio, and they came out with a combo overdrive pedal. Overdrive 1 is Klon with germanium diodes, like properly Klon. And then side 2 of that is Timmy. So put those two things together, and he says apparently you can kick in some extra with this when you use them both. You throw in there a 3-band EQ and MIDI control, because it's Jackson Audio MIDI control, and you got a pretty killer pedal. I think this would be an interesting, it's called the Optimist. Great name, actually. Optimism. It's good. New guitar stuff. I like it. So this next big thing is Fender. Fender came out with a bunch of new stuff, or they are introducing a bunch of new stuff. One is their Hammer Tone pedal series. I think they call them Hammer Tone because they, you know, not like big baggy pants hammer. That's Hammer Time. This is Hammer Tone. We're talking about these metal cases with hammered finishes, kind of vintage looking. They got the witch hat knobs from like old amps, but they're kind of like color coded to each of the pedals. And these things are like $79 or $99 depending on which one you get. So super, super cheap. The idea is to introduce a pedal line that is a familiar brand to people that are starting to play guitar, since there are so many new guitar players now, which I really dig this concept and this idea. And there's 9 of them, and they are pretty simple. Basically, distortion, an overdrive, a delay, a reverb, a fuzz, a metal, chorus, and a space delay. So there's a couple of different versions of the same thing in there, but it gets you a pretty well-rounded selection of pedals at a really reasonable price, $79 and $99. This is pretty cool. I like how they're all color-coded. I like how they're all small enough. They've got the top-mounted jack, so they've got like modern pedal things that are important to pedal people. But more importantly, to people that are a new player, I make it easy for them to kind of put together a pedal board all in one place. I dig this. For those of you that are into guitars that are longer than normal, you're really gonna dig this. Fender has announced a Squire version of a baritone Tele. We get requests to make a baritone Tele all the time. So the last time we did a Squire Telecaster, we bought the 60s classic vibe. That's basically what this guitar is. So it's double bound, it's got the 60s pickups in it, the Alnico pickups in it. Pretty much, to my eyes and reading the spec sheet, looks like they basically took a Squire Classic Vibe Tele with the double bound body and they put a 27-inch scale neck on it and made it into a baritone. This is very, very cool. Because up to this point, you pretty much had to spend like $2,000 for a baritone. I think this thing's gonna be like $500. Yeah, so this is really cool. We get all kinds of, like, in the comments all the time, can you take a Squire and make it into a baritone? Well, I don't have to because they already did it, and I think these are gonna sell like hotcakes because this is very cool. Or at least they better, because Fender did something very cool, so that means you need to buy it. Speaking of that, we're not done with Fender yet. In fact, we're not done with Squire yet, because Squire has come out with 5 new models to commemorate 40 years of Squire. Can you believe they've been making guitars for 40 years under the Squire brand for Fender? These are killer guitars. The fact that they have anodized aluminum pick guards on them, and I think these guitars are going to be $599. They've got some block inlays on the Strat and Tele. They've got some really killer finishes. These things are cool, but I literally think you have to buy one just to get that pick guard. I know for sure, because I've talked to some people about this, that those aluminum pick guards, those anodized aluminum pick guards from Fender are very difficult to get your hands on unless you buy them on a guitar. So I think they've kind of done that on purpose. You can get them in the aftermarket and they're kind of the same, but these are killer. It's almost worth buying the guitar so you could get this pick guard. Super, super cool. And block inlays on a Tele or a Strat is interesting too. I dig the little fanciness that they've done with this stuff. And the colors. The colors are really good too. You can see them right here in the box. They look awesome. Now, speaking of Fender anniversaries, it's also 60 years since the Jaguar came out. Now, this is an interesting guitar, obviously, because the pickups are wacky, the switching is wacky. This guitar was supposed to be like a super deluxe, really cool guitar when it first came out 60 years ago. It ended up kind of being more of a niche thing, right? Obviously, being the offset with those wacky pickups and the wacky switching, but they were very fancy and very cool, but they had a 24-inch scale, so it was kind of its own little animal, right? They still are. Like, they have a huge following, but they are just a little different. They're really cool. Anyway, Fender came out with, or is introducing anyways, the 60th anniversary Jaguar. So they've got it's basically a 60th anniversary Jaguar with 7.25 inch radius, etc., etc. It's Jaguar stuff, a couple new fancy colors, really, really pretty guitar, matching peg head. Really nice guitar. But the one that's got me interested, and the reason I think this is so cool, after we just did a bunch of videos and talked about innovation, and in the comments people were blowing up about guitars should be certain ways, and we want Fender to innovate, we want them to do cool new things. This is a cool new thing. The 60th anniversary American Ultra Luxe Jaguar. Now, it has humbuckers in it, so it's going to have those new ones that look like wide ranges, but they're actually not, but they're the same size as a regular humbucker, so this will be cool. I think that's what these are. Yeah, so this would be cool. I think you'll be able to actually replace these with anything you want, which would be awesome. But they've got it's got a 10-14 compound radius fretboard. It's got dot inlays, and it's 25.5-inch scale. So this is really, really neat. It's to me, moddable, super fun, although it's gonna be over $2,000 probably because it's an ultra luxe. So, you're probably gonna be looking at something in the $2,200 range for this guitar. I would say 21, in that area. They don't have a price here, but the other guitars are right around that area. So something in that area. But this is going to be a great guitar. Humbuckers, 25.5-inch scale, but a Jag. So cool. I think this is so cool. And this is, to me, taking a traditional design and doing something else with it, and doing something that a lot of other players will like, putting that 25.5-inch scale. Hopefully this idea sells, so you need to buy this guitar, because hopefully this idea sells and it will filter down to other things that Fender is doing, so that we can see this maybe in a more affordable model. You know what I mean? Because this is an Ultralux. It's going to be a few bucks. But maybe it will filter itself down. Maybe we'll go to 25.5-inch scale Jag Squire. That'd be killer. That'd be so killer. Really, really cool idea. I really dig this guitar. Okay. Y'all might not know this, but I am a massive, massive, massive Joan Jett fan. Just the fact that, well, first of all, I like that music. I love that early kind of evolving punk rock sound. I love it. I love it. Honestly, it's the reason I own this guitar right here. I know it's not a Joan Jett guitar, but the single pickup P90 thing, it's always been a thing of mine. I love Joan Jett. She has been working with Epiphone to come out with a signature Epiphone. Now this is going to be based on her guitar that she's always played, but just a little bit different. It's the same kind of spec, so it's the single humbucker. What's the name of this? The Power Hammer Pro humbucker. It's got a single volume knob and it's got a kill switch. But instead of being like the burst color that her guitar is, she said she wanted to make it white. That way you could draw on it with Sharpie, you could beat it up, you could put stickers on it, you could whatever. The idea was blank slate, punk rock. I think a white punk guitar makes a lot of sense. And this is really, really cool. They're gonna be like $5.99, I think. So relatively affordable. This is pretty much how these, kind of like the Billy Joe Armstrong and some of the other signature Epiphone guitars are. This is really a cool guitar. I'm really excited about this. I might actually buy one of these for myself, just because I think this is, I always say it, everybody should own at least one single pickup guitar. And I mean, if it's got Joan Jett's name on it, how can you go wrong? Really, really cool. $549 with a gig bag. I guess I missed that bit of detail. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm stoked about this. I saw this yesterday and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got my favorite story of the week for the news, and I had to share it with you. I'm pretty stoked. Make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and the like button. We have a live stream coming out on Thursday, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this this whole guitar change, same thing. It's an interesting conversation to have, and I'm excited to get your opinion on it. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you know when that live stream comes out. Well, it's 8 p.m. on Thursdays, so there you go. And we'll put as many links to all the stuff as we can find in the description below, because, you know, that helps out the channel when you use those links. I do appreciate it. If you have any questions or anything, put them in the comments. Obviously, be nice, but we will see you in the next video.